Joining me right now graciously at this, again, ungodly hour, the lovely KJ. Thank you for being with me tonight.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We were talking during the break now. You just watched one of the latest films you watched. You watched it today, if I'm not mistaken?
Correct.
You watched the new Zach Braff movie that came out back in, I believe it was April, was Going in Style.
Correct.
Now, you didn't know that was a remake.
I did not.
You did not know that was a remake. Just a brief little overview, okay? It is a remake. And I probably wouldn't know this either, and I don't want to go too long-winded on this just because of the backstory of this.
Right.
It's a movie, it's the same title, Going in Style. It's got Art Carney, George Burns, and Lee Strasberg.
Okay.
And it's the same exact premise. A little slower because it was back in the 70s too. So, I mean, movies weren't paced like they were today. But the director of the movie, I love him. His name is Martin Brest. Now, the sad thing about Martin Brest, he's still alive. Don't get me wrong, he's still living. But he directed Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, Scent of a Woman, the Al Pacino movie, and then his career pumped the brakes when he directed the Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez movie, Geely. Ooh. And he has not directed a movie since. And there's no interviews of him. The 25th anniversary of Beverly Hills Cop came and went without so much as him getting an interview. He's in his mid-60s now. He has not directed, like I said, not even had credits, I think. He got credit on the movie. This makes it a little bit sadder. Because that was Ben Affleck's movie. That was back when Ben Affleck and J-Lo were like reviled people at tabloids and stuff. Well, 4 years later, Ben Affleck made his directorial debut with Gone Baby Gone.
Right.
He gave Martin Brest a special thanks in that movie.
Aw, that's...
But
sweet, but also really sad.
That movie bombed, and like there's a lot of backstory. I should do a showcase on Martin Brest because I think he's one of the best directors. Best directors at least of that, like from the 70s to the 80s. Because I mean, like I don't know if you've seen Beverly Hills Cop, the Eddie Murphy movie, Midnight Run with Robert De Niro. He made some really good action comedies that get very, very that are very not so much slept on, but people don't recognize him that he was kind of the driving force. And Going in Style was from 1979. That was his first, not including a short film that he made at the AFI Conservatory. That was his first movie. That was his first studio production working with real reputable actors. And by this time, George Burns and Art Carney and Lee Strasberg were like in the twilights of their career too. Right. So like to have like those three older names in a movie, I think it's great. I really think you should see it. It's like the original 1979 movie. You could find it at the library and stuff like that. It's great. It really is. Now, you want to talk briefly too about at least the new movie Going in Style. Your thoughts?
Honestly, I really, really liked it, and I think they did an excellent job with the casting as far as they had
I would agree.
Such chemistry together, and like they're all like standalone actors as far as like they can hold their own and they're big names and like people recognize them and they get together and it just makes it like a strong front, you know?
Yes, and like, because again, you're getting, and this was the same thing that happened with the original too. You're getting actors that are not only good together, but comfortable alone.
Exactly.
And they're veterans too. Like Alan Arkin does a lot of comedy.
Right.
Alan Arkin, who's one of the actors in there alongside Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine. Alan Arkin is really good. And I mean, it was funny. Alan Arkin kind of had a career several older actors do. And like he got kind of big off of, he's been in a ton of movies. He was in Glengarry Glen Ross, which I love.
Right.
But like he got big off of the movie, what was it? Little Miss Sunshine. He got really big off of that movie, like in the mainstream again. And like people thought that like that was one of his first roles, but like Sid Haig in Devil's Rejects and like Liam Neeson in Taken, these actors had been acting for years before, but like people didn't start paying attention until like this one movie made a lot of money and they were really memorable roles. Like Alan Arkin was also in the comedy Stand Up Guys with Christopher Walken. I don't know if you watched that one. If you like Going in Style, you might like that one. There's similar tones and stuff, but you did enjoy this one though.
I did, and I really loved like just they not only did they have like obviously you're gonna bring some comedy into this movie, but like they left the comedy aspect of it, like they brought in their own personalities. It wasn't like we're gonna use someone else's like style of it and bring it into these actors. Like these actors got to keep their sense of them. So like Morgan Freeman basically plays himself.
It's
like,
true.
they're not, it feels like they're not even acting. Like you feel like you're just getting a glimpse into their everyday lives. And so it's a lot easier to like relate to it. And
Yes.
it's less of like watching a movie and more of just like, I don't know. Like
hanging out, out with these actors. Because now the one of the big differences, and it's, I wouldn't even say big, but it's one of the only differences between this new movie, which I think just came to DVD too, and the original, is that the original did not have like, and not that this one does either, but the original doesn't have the central political motivation,
right,
of like banks and like the corruption of banks, the sort of ignorance of the banks on part of like these old guys that are, getting screwed out of their pension and stuff. That wasn't the motivation. The motivation for the original, you know what it was? The three guys were sitting on a park bench. They read about a robbery in the paper, and then they want to do it. That's the same thing. And they talk about the social safety net that they would have. It's not about sticking it to the banks. It's not about like after. And it also wasn't made. The movie was made in 1979. This movie wasn't also made like this one 10 years after the economic recession, which a lot of people are still feeling. You know what I mean? There's not that, that sort of edge to it too.
I think it kind of makes you root for them a little bit more. So I think they definitely
root for the common man.
They definitely like brought in that aspect of it. It really makes you like, it makes it less about bank robbing and more about like, you want them to get away with it, because who doesn't want to steal back from the people that are stealing from
them?
You know?
Absolutely. But I'm glad you did see Going in Style, because like another thing that was really important, I think, with that movie too, if you could say anything was important about it, but I mean, the one thing that I like is that you don't get a lot. First off, I think one of the big problems of the multiplex is you don't get a lot of movies targeted to the 50-plus crowd.
Yep.
And what happens is, and this happens every year, it's sickening, is that, well, it's going to start happening next month, because next month is like award season. It's the movies that are built up for the Academy Awards momentum. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a lot of these dramas targeted to that demographic, but they're all going to come out on top of one another. They're all going to come out like 2 a week, 3 a week. I mean, it's happened with Our Brand is Crisis. It happened with Burnt. Hollywood, I think, doesn't know that adults don't rush out the first weekend to see the new Steven Spielberg movie. They would rather wait 3-4 weeks for when it comes in the matinees or the second run theaters. Now, a movie like Going in Style is not going to make 50 million opening weekend. Right. Movies, the superhero movies that target towards the younger crowd, notwithstanding that they have source material, very popular source material from which they stem, they're going to make a lot of money. And not to mention, too, young adults, teenagers, our age too, that are a little bit older, are antsy. We want to go see the new thing opening weekend.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to feel out of it. Adults don't care. Adults will go see Bridge of Spies or The Martian or even American Sniper, the new that Clint Eastwood movie. They'll go see that a month after it's out. And that's why you see these adult movies that'll stick around in theaters for so long. But like Going in Style is like not only a movie geared for adults, but like a movie that is a comedy, and you don't get a lot of comedies for like 50 plus.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important. And you don't have to be older to enjoy it, but I know that a lot of older people will enjoy it.
And I think movies like that are such genius as far as like, you're not just targeting a certain group of like, a lot of these big name movies, like you're only getting like between these ages going and seeing it. And so like you've got a lot of people that are just out of the loop as far as that goes. But like movies like these, like movies like Going in Style, I could see my little brother or sister watching and enjoying and still like getting the message of it. And I could also see my grandpa, who's so movie picky, like only watches old movies and stuff like that unless we like force him to watch it. I can see him getting a laugh out of it too. So it allows...
And that's special.
Yeah, it allows the different generations to connect on that, because now there's a movie that, my 12-year-old brother can watch along with my grandpa, and they can talk about.
And you can't name a lot of those movies, too, because it's not vulgar, it's not dirty.
Right.